Good evening, dear listener. Welcome to Sleepy Science, where curiosity drifts gently into rest and the mysteries of our world become companions to your dreams. Take a slow breath in and let it out. Adjust your pillow, dim the lights, and allow yourself to sink into calm. Tonight, we begin a journey that stretches across time, across sand and stone, across myth and science, to one of the greatest enigmas humanity has ever known, the Great Pyramid of Giza. For over 4,000 years, it has watched silently over the desert, rising like a mountain of stone, a monument to ambition, mathematics, and perhaps something more. Its sharp edges catch the sunlight by day and the moonlight by night. It is massive, yet precise, heavy, yet delicate in design. It is both earthly and, some whisper, otherworldly. We know the pyramid was built as a tomb for Pharaoh Khufu, sometime around 2600 BCE. That is what the textbooks tell us. But when one stands at the base of this giant structure, gazing upward at more than 2 million blocks of limestone and granite, each one weighing tons, placed so carefully that not even a razor blade can slide between them, textbooks feel insufficient. Logic strains against the sheer scale of the achievement. And then the questions rise. How did they do this? Why is it aligned so precisely to the cardinal directions? Why do the internal shafts point towards specific stars? Could this perfection be the product of nothing but ropes, wooden sledges, and human hands? Or is there something more behind the silence of the stones? In the 20th century, a daring theory emerged. What if the pyramid was not built by human effort alone? What if, in some forgotten age, visitors from beyond the earth had touched this desert, and their hands, or their knowledge, shaped the stones of Khufu's tomb? The Swiss author Erich von Däniken popularized this idea in his book Chariots of the Gods. He asked, were the gods of ancient myth not gods at all, but beings from other worlds? Did they descend from the heavens, not as symbols, but as astronauts? And if so, did they leave their legacy in the form of impossible monuments? Monuments like the Great Pyramid? Mainstream archaeologists have long rejected this. To them, such ideas distract from the ingenuity of the Egyptians themselves. They argue no aliens were needed, only patience, manpower, and clever engineering. Yet the theory of ancient astronauts has never quite disappeared. It lingers, like a whisper in the wind, because the mystery itself is too compelling to let go. And so tonight, we ask not whether it is true or false, but simply, what if? Imagine the desert thousands of years ago. The Nile flowing nearby, fertile and green along its banks. Thousands of laborers hauling blocks across sand, chanting in rhythm, ropes straining, sledges sliding forward. But in the stillness of night, the stars above blaze with unfamiliar brilliance. The constellation of Orion shines down, its belt aligned with the passageways of the pyramid yet to be built. And in some stories, in some whispers, figures descend from the sky, tall, radiant, wielding knowledge that bends stone and geometry alike. To the people, they are gods. To us, perhaps, they are something else. If such beings existed, their legacy would not only be the pyramid itself, but the myths that surround it. Ancient texts speak of gods from the heavens, of rulers who learned directly from divine teachers. The pyramid, then, might be more than a tomb. It might be a signal, a marker, a bridge between the earth and the stars. Close your eyes and let the image settle. A vast pyramid gleaming with polished white limestone, so bright it reflects the sun like a beacon across the desert. At its peak, perhaps capped with gold, it shines into the heavens. Was it only for a king's afterlife, or was it meant to be seen from the skies? Even today, the pyramid continues to baffle us. Its base is nearly a perfect square, misaligned by only fractions of a degree. Its corridors cut with uncanny accuracy. Its stones, millions of them, rise with relentless order, row after row, as if guided by a hand that never faltered. Was this simply the brilliance of human will, or a trace of something greater, something beyond our planet? The truth may never be fully known, yet the mystery itself is a gift. It stirs wonder. It slows the mind into curiosity. It reminds us that not all questions need answers tonight. Some mysteries are best left as companions, soft and lingering as we drift toward sleep. So tonight, as you rest, let the image of the Great Pyramid stay with you. See it under the moonlight, tall and silent. Feel the cool desert wind brush across your skin. Imagine the stars above, watching, waiting, and wonder, softly, gently. What if the pyramid was not only the work of men, but also a message from the stars? This is only the beginning. In the next part, we will step deeper into the engineering puzzle, the sheer impossibility of moving and shaping the stones, and explore why, even today, scientists and dreamers alike still call it one of the greatest mysteries of all time. Until then, sleep well. Let the desert winds carry you. Let the stars keep you. And may the mystery itself be your lullaby. The Great Pyramid of Giza, Khufu's pyramid, the oldest of the seven wonders of the ancient world. It has stood for more than 4,500 years, yet its mystery is still fresh, like desert wind whispering across the stones. Tonight, we focus on its construction, the immense, improbable act of raising millions of tons of stone into a shape so precise that it defies explanation even today. Let us begin with numbers, for the numbers themselves carry a quiet weight. The pyramid was once 146 meters tall, nearly the height of a modern 50-story building. Its base covers 13 acres. Over 2,300,000 blocks of stone were used, some weighing as little as 2 tons, others up to 70. If you were to place all the stones side by side, they would stretch around the Earth's equator more than once. The base is nearly a perfect square, with sides measuring over 230 meters each, misaligned by less than a degree. Its 4 sides face almost exactly north, south, east, and west. In a world without compasses, lasers, or satellites, how did ancient builders achieve such perfection? The orthodox explanation is simple in form, though staggering in scale: manpower. Tens of thousands of workers, perhaps 100,000 at peak, labored for decades. They quarried the limestone, hauled it to the site, dragged it up ramps, and placed each block with ropes, levers, and sheer determination. No magic, no lost technology, no extraterrestrials, just human sweat, ingenuity, and the will of a civilization that revered its king as a god. Yet when one slows down, as we are slowing now, and considers the details, doubts creep gently in. Imagine lifting a block the weight of an elephant, not once, but thousands of times a day. Imagine transporting it across uneven desert terrain, over distances of many kilometers. Imagine not just stacking these blocks, but aligning them so tightly that the joints remain invisible even after millennia of erosion. Could ropes and wooden sledges truly suffice? Archaeologists propose several theories. One is the long ramp theory, a massive ramp of mud brick and limestone chips stretched outward from the pyramid's base, rising gradually as construction advanced. Workers would drag blocks up the ramp, then dismantle the ramp afterward. The problem is scale. To reach the top, such a ramp would need to be miles long, requiring more material to build than the pyramid itself. Yet no remains of such a colossal structure have ever been found. Another theory suggests spiral ramps wrapped around the pyramid's exterior, allowing blocks to be hauled upward in stages. This would reduce the ramp's length, but obscure the pyramid's corners during construction, making alignment nearly impossible. Some propose internal ramps hidden within the pyramid itself, passageways still undiscovered, their secrets entombed within the stone. Others speculate about clever use of water, lubrication, or sound. Recent experiments have shown that pouring water onto sand before dragging a sledge greatly reduces friction. Perhaps the workers, intuitive in their methods, moistened the desert floor to ease the load. Perhaps ropes and counterweights amplified their strength. Perhaps their tools, though simple, were wielded with a mastery now forgotten. Even if these methods explain transport, the precision of placement remains astonishing. The pyramid's casing stones, once polished white limestone, were cut to fit with accuracy so fine that they gleamed like mirrors under the sun. The internal passages descend and ascend with mathematical regularity, aligning with stars such as Sirius and Orion's belt. To modern eyes, it seems as if the builders not only mastered stone, but geometry, astronomy, and engineering beyond their age. And so, the whisper of alternative explanations grows louder. Could it be that knowledge was given, not discovered? Could it be that the Egyptians were taught by others, visitors from the skies? Imagine, for a moment, a beam of light descending from the stars, guiding workers in their placement of stone. Imagine sound waves or anti-gravity fields, lifting blocks effortlessly into place. Science fiction, perhaps, but for those lying awake at night, it is a lullaby of possibility. Consider, too, the labor force itself. For many years, it was believed that slaves built the pyramids. Hollywood gave us images of men whipped under the sun, forced to drag stones in misery. But archaeology tells a different story. Excavations near Giza reveal workers' villages, bakeries, breweries, cemeteries. These were not slaves, but paid laborers, farmers during flood season, craftsmen, masons, engineers. They lived, worked, and died in the shadow of the pyramid. Some graves hold men whose bones show signs of injuries healed over time, evidence of care and medical treatment. These were communities built around a sacred task, serving their pharaoh, building not only a tomb, but eternity. And yet, even with thousands of hands, the pace required is dizzying. 20 years of construction. Over 2 million blocks. That means a block placed every 2 minutes, day and night, without pause. Did they truly maintain such a rhythm? Could any society achieve such relentless precision? The pyramid itself guards its secrets. Within its core lie hidden chambers, discovered only recently by advanced scanning technologies. In 2017, a void the size of an airplane was detected above the Grand Gallery, untouched for over 4 millennia. What lies inside? Another corridor? A burial chamber? Or perhaps nothing but air, left deliberately as a mystery? Some dreamers wonder, could these hidden spaces hold evidence of forgotten technology, or even artifacts not of this earth? And then there is the alignment with the stars. The shafts from the king's chamber point directly at Orion's belt and Sirius, stars sacred to the Egyptians as symbols of rebirth and the afterlife. Was this coincidence? Or was the pyramid not only a tomb, but also a cosmic clock, a machine of stone linking Earth to the heavens? If so, who taught them to design it so? As you breathe slowly now, let your mind rest on these possibilities. Imagine the slow march of workers, dragging stones across the desert, their chants rising and falling like waves. Imagine the pyramid rising, layer by layer, like the beating of a great heart. Imagine that, perhaps, in the quiet of night, a light descended from the stars, and something beyond human guided their hands. The construction of the pyramid is both history and mystery. It is a tale of human endurance, but also of unanswered questions. Was it sweat and stone alone? Or was there another hand, invisible, shaping the work? Tonight, we do not answer. We simply wonder. And as you drift deeper into rest, let the weight of the stones fade. Let the desert winds carry you. Let the mystery of construction, how, why, by whom, become a soft question, lingering until sleep takes you. For as long as humans have gazed upward, the heavens have been a source of myth and mystery. The Egyptians were no different. To them, the sky was not empty space, but the realm of gods, the endless ocean of Nut, the goddess of the night. Stars were not distant balls of fire, but living symbols, guardians of eternity, messengers of life after death. The Great Pyramid, rising from the desert, was not just a tomb, it was a bridge to the heavens. Ancient legends whisper of beings who came from the stars, figures who taught humanity knowledge beyond its years. In Egyptian mythology, gods such as Osiris, Isis, Horus, and Thoth were said to descend from the sky. They were not merely deities, they were teachers, bearers of wisdom, gifts, and power. Osiris brought knowledge of agriculture and rebirth. Thoth taught writing and mathematics. Horus, the falcon-headed god, was the lord of the sky. These gods were described with radiant appearances, animal-like features that seem symbolic, but could, in another light, be echoes of something alien. Some texts even speak of the Shining Ones, or those who descended from the sky. For mainstream scholars, these are symbolic myths. But for those who listen to the whispers of alternative history, they are not just gods, but visitors from beyond. The connection between stars and pyramids is profound. The 3 pyramids of Giza align with the 3 stars of Orion's belt. To the Egyptians, Orion was Osiris himself, ruler of the afterlife. The shafts of the king's chamber point to those very stars, as if guiding the soul of the pharaoh to join the gods in the heavens. The pyramid was not only a tomb, but a cosmic vessel, a launch pad for the soul. Could this alignment have been coincidence? Or was it deliberate, taught by those who understood the skies far more deeply than early humans could? Across cultures, echoes of the same myths appear. In Mesopotamia, the Sumerians told of the Anunnaki, gods who descended from the heavens to create humanity and teach civilization. In Mesoamerica, the Mayans and Aztecs spoke of feathered serpents, gods who came from the sky bringing knowledge of astronomy and calendars. In India, ancient texts describe Vimanas, flying chariots of the gods. And in Egypt, too, the idea persists that the gods who ruled were not of this world, but of another. Could it be that all these myths are fragments of a single memory? That long ago, beings from elsewhere visited our ancestors, And those ancestors, unable to understand, called them gods. The pyramid itself may be a monument to those encounters. Imagine an ancient Egyptian priest standing before his people, pointing to Orion and saying, "There is Osiris, our god, our ancestor." Perhaps he believed it, or perhaps he was repeating what he had been told, passed down from encounters long forgotten. The myths describe the gods as bringing not only knowledge, but judgment. They gave laws, arts, and sciences. They shaped kingship, deciding who would rule. The pharaoh himself was seen as divine, the son of Ra, the sun god. If one stretches the imagination, perhaps the pharaoh was seen as the representative of those sky beings, a hybrid of human and something else. Could the Great Pyramid then have been more than a tomb? Could it have been a temple, a symbol, even a device for communication? Myths speak of pyramids as places of ascension, places where humans touch the divine. Some texts call the pyramid the house of eternity, a place where the king would rise to the stars. But what if rising to the stars was not metaphorical? What if it was literal? Imagine a scenario: beams of light connecting pyramid to sky, a pharaoh soul or body transported to another realm. Perhaps not gods, but travelers, beings whose technology seemed divine, guiding the construction of pyramids as markers, as docking points, as maps for others like them to see. The pyramid becomes not just a tomb, but a signal shining into the heavens. Legends of the Benben stone support this imagery. The Benben was a sacred object, described as radiant, fiery, descending from the sky. It was kept at Heliopolis, center of solar worship. Some interpretations describe it as a meteorite, a fragment of the heavens. Others imagine it as something stranger, perhaps an artifact of alien origin. Its shape, pointed, pyramid-like, inspired the design of obelisks and pyramids themselves. Could the pyramid, then, be a magnified Benben, a cosmic stone designed to echo the heavens? Ancient texts also speak of gods walking among men. Thoth, the ibis-headed god of wisdom, was called the scribe of the gods. He carried a staff, a tool of power. Was it myth, or was it memory of someone carrying technology that appeared magical? Isis, goddess of magic, was said to know secrets beyond human comprehension. Osiris was torn apart and resurrected. Such myths may hold symbolism, but to believers in the alien theory, they are distorted recollections of real beings. Beings who could heal, who could resurrect, who could wield energy unknown to us. As you drift deeper into this thought, imagine the desert night. Thousands of years ago, Egyptians standing by torchlight, eyes turned upward. They saw lights in the sky, perhaps stars, perhaps something moving differently, glowing strangely. They told stories of beings descending, radiant and powerful. They worshipped them, feared them, built monuments for them. Those stories became myths, and myths became religion, and religion became the foundation of civilization. Yet, beneath the layers, could there be a grain of truth? That these beings were not gods, but visitors? Across cultures, the same themes repeat: gods from the sky, teachers of civilization, pyramids or temples pointing heavenward. The Egyptians were not alone in seeing their gods as celestial. The question remains: why the stars? Why Orion? Why Sirius? Perhaps because those were the homes of the visitors, or perhaps because those stars marked their way across the cosmos. Some say the pyramid is a map, not only of the heavens, but of a connection between worlds. Others say it is memory cast in stone, a permanent reminder that once the sky opened and beings walked among us. In listening to these legends, we do not have to decide. We only let the possibilities rest within us, gently, like soft sand settling after wind. Were the gods of Egypt symbols of natural forces, or were they real beings whose appearance became myth? Was the pyramid a tomb, or was it also a message, a bridge to the stars? Tonight, as you rest, let the voices of those legends accompany you. The falcon of Horus soaring above, the wisdom of Thoth whispering secrets, the light of Osiris shining from Orion. These are the echoes of the past, still alive in stone, still alive in stars. The Great Pyramid remains, silent but speaking, waiting for us to listen. And so, the legends of the sky gods remain not only tales of old, but possibilities, dreams, and mysteries to cradle us into sleep. The Great Pyramid is more than stone stacked into shape. It is a puzzle written in numbers, an equation carved into limestone, a cosmic riddle that ties the earth to the heavens. Scholars have long marveled at the mathematical perfection hidden within its form. Each side of its base measures about 230 meters, and yet the difference between them is only a few centimeters. The four sides face almost exactly north, south, east, and west, aligned with an accuracy so fine that even modern builders with compasses and GPS would struggle to match it. How could a civilization more than 4,000 years ago achieve such precision without advanced instruments? Some suggest they used the stars. The North Star, though not the same then as now, could have served as a guide, its fixed point in the sky allowing the Egyptians to orient their work. Others imagine long shadows traced carefully, day by day, season by season, until the pyramid's base mirrored the order of the cosmos. To the Egyptians, this was not merely architecture. It was harmony with the universe. But the harmony goes deeper. If one takes the perimeter of the pyramid and divides it by twice its height, the result is a number astonishingly close to pi, the mathematical constant that defines circles. Was this coincidence, or did the builders know pi centuries before Greek mathematicians described it? If the pyramid's height is compared to its base, the ratio mirrors the golden number, phi, associated with beauty, growth, and proportion in nature. Were these numbers discovered intentionally, or did they emerge naturally from the design? Some argue that the Egyptians understood geometry far beyond what we credit them for. Others whisper that such knowledge was taught to them, passed down from a source greater than themselves. Astronomy adds another layer to the enigma. The three pyramids of Giza are arranged in a pattern that mirrors the three stars of Orion's belt. To the Egyptians, Orion was Osiris, the god of the afterlife, and aligning the pyramids with his stars was a way to connect the pharaoh's soul to eternity. The shafts of the Great Pyramid point directly at Orion's belt and at Sirius, the brightest star in the night sky, associated with the goddess Isis. These alignments are not rough approximations. They are exact, deliberate, carved into stone to last forever. Imagine the builders gazing at the night sky, tracing Orion's stars, setting their stones to echo the heavens. Were they guided only by careful observation, or was there another hand, another intelligence, showing them the map? Some see the pyramid as a kind of observatory, a structure that captures not only the pharaoh's body, but the movement of the stars. Others go further. calling it a message, a beacon meant to be seen not only from Earth, but from above. The accuracy of its orientation, the embedding of mathematical constants, the alignment with celestial bodies. Together, they suggest a plan far greater than a simple tomb. They suggest intention, knowledge, perhaps even contact. Could it be that the pyramid was designed not just for the dead king, but for a dialogue with the universe? As you rest tonight, imagine the desert sky. The stars shimmer, endless and eternal. The pyramid rises, its sharp edges cutting into the heavens. Numbers and constellations converge, earth and sky becoming one. It is more than stone. It is a message in mathematics, a whisper in astronomy, a lullaby of science and mystery. And whether the knowledge came from human genius or from beyond, the result is the same. A monument that ties us to the cosmos, a riddle that soothes even as it puzzles. Let that thought carry you deeper into stillness as numbers turn into stars and stars into dreams. The riddle of the Great Pyramid is not only in its size or in its alignment, but in the stones themselves. More than 2 million blocks of limestone and granite were moved, shaped, and set in place. Some weigh 2 tons, others 20, and a few, deep within the structure, weigh more than 70 tons. These colossal pieces of granite, cut from quarries far to the south in Aswan, traveled hundreds of kilometers to reach Giza. To this day, the image of ancient workers hauling such immense stones across desert sands remains difficult to picture. Egyptologists explain it through manpower, ingenuity, and perseverance. Wooden sledges dragged across sand, lubricated with water to reduce friction, ropes pulled by teams of laborers, ramps stretching for miles, counterweights, and levers used with careful precision. In small-scale experiments, these methods can be shown to work. With a team of a few dozen men, a block weighing several tons can indeed be moved across flat ground. Yet when multiplied by millions of blocks, when scaled to the full grandeur of the pyramid, doubts quietly resurface. Could such techniques alone account for the speed, the precision, and the sheer magnitude of the task? Even if ramps were used, the size of the ramps required would dwarf the pyramid itself, demanding resources beyond reason. Even if sledges slid across dampened sand, the effort required to haul 70-ton blocks across hundreds of kilometers remains staggering. The stones do not simply rest atop one another. They interlock with astonishing accuracy. Gaps are microscopic. The casing stones, once polished to brilliance, reflect the sun as though the pyramid itself was a beacon. For some, these details suggest that the Egyptians possessed knowledge far ahead of their time. For others, the conclusion drifts beyond Earth. What if alien technology played a role? Not necessarily fleets of spacecraft and glowing beams in the night sky, but knowledge imparted, tools lent, energy shown. What if, in some forgotten moment of human history, visitors from elsewhere revealed techniques to lift, transport, and position stone with ease? Some speculate about anti-gravity devices, tools that could cancel weight, leaving blocks to float and glide effortlessly into place. To us, this sounds like science fiction, yet so too would the miracles of modern cranes and hydraulics appear to ancient eyes. Others imagine sonic technology, frequencies that resonate with matter, vibrating it until heavy objects lose their hold upon the earth. Legends from different cultures describe walls of sound moving mountains or trumpets bringing down cities. Could the myths hold a memory of technologies long vanished? There are those who picture beams of light, coherent energy fields that bind and lift, lasers or tractor beams, concepts familiar to modern imagination, might have seemed divine in ages past. If such devices were ever used, the memory of them may survive only in the stories of gods with radiant staffs or rods of power. The Egyptian god Thoth was often depicted holding a staff, a symbol of wisdom and authority. Could it be a memory of a tool more literal? The mystery deepens when we consider the granite beams of the king's chamber. These immense stones weigh over 50 tons each, hauled from Aswan, nearly 900 kilometers away. Even if floated on barges along the Nile, the final ascent into place within the pyramid defies easy explanation. To lift such weight without iron, without steel, without machines, requires either an ingenuity we have underestimated or something else entirely. Imagine, for a moment, an alien presence in ancient Egypt, not ruling, not enslaving, but guiding. Workers haul stones with ropes, as they always did. But when they reach the impossible task, a device is revealed, humming softly, releasing energy that lightens the load. The workers stare in awe as a block that once required hundreds now floats upward, guided gently into place. They call their helpers gods, for what else could they be? And when the task is complete, when the pyramid stands gleaming under the sun, the visitors depart, leaving behind no machines, only myths, only legends, only stone too perfect to be believed. Archaeologists will argue, of course, that there is no evidence of such devices. No alien artifacts have been found at Giza. The explanations of ramps and sledges, while imperfect, remain plausible. Human determination, when guided by faith and organization, can achieve wonders. Yet the question persists: why do the pyramids align with stars? Why do mathematical constants appear in their measurements? Why are there no definitive traces of ramps? Why do so many myths around the world speak of gods descending from the sky? The possibility, however slim, whispers still. Perhaps humans did not build alone. Consider also the tales from later dynasties. Some Egyptian texts describe the pyramids as built by the followers of Horus, semi-divine beings who lived in a time before kings. Other records speak of Zep-Tepi, the first time, when gods walked the earth and taught humanity. To historians, these are myths. To believers in the alien hypothesis, they are memories encoded in story, distorted by time, yet pointing to something real. As you breathe slowly, imagine the scene. The desert stretches endless. The Nile flows, carrying granite from far to the south. Workers chant, sweat, strain. The sun blazes, and then, silently, a light appears. Perhaps not visible to all, but present. A hum, a vibration, a tool beyond understanding. A stone rises, weightless, guided by unseen hands. The workers cheer, believing their gods are with them. To them, it is divine. To us, it would be technology. To the stones themselves, it is only movement, placement, stillness. Whether alien or human, the pyramid rose, and it remains. Its presence soothes and puzzles, comforts and confounds. Did aliens truly assist, or did humans, through sheer will and brilliance, achieve what seems impossible? Perhaps both answers are true in different ways. For even if no beings from the stars lifted stones, the myth of their presence continues to lift our imagination. The pyramid invites us to dream. It invites us to wonder. And in that wonder, it eases us into rest. Tonight, as your body grows heavy, let the stones grow light. Let the image of a 70-ton block floating gently upward drift into your mind. Let the chants of workers fade into the desert wind. Let the possibility that others once walked among us, lending their knowledge, cradle you softly. The truth may remain unknown, but the mystery remains eternal, and in that mystery, sleep finds us. The Great Pyramid has stood for more than 4 millennia, yet even today it continues to reveal secrets. To the casual eye, it appears unchanging, a silent mountain of stone. But beneath its surface, hidden within its mass, lie mysteries only now beginning to emerge. In the 19th century, explorers crawled through narrow corridors, lanterns flickering, chiseling through sealed passages in search of hidden rooms. They found the king's chamber, the queen's chamber, and the grand gallery, yet they sensed there was more. Ancient legends spoke of secret chambers, of treasures, of texts hidden to preserve wisdom from the first time. Archaeologists dismissed these as myths, but curiosity never faded. In recent decades, new technologies have pierced the pyramid's silence without lifting a single stone. Ground-penetrating radar, thermal imaging, and muon tomography, tools that read density by tracing particles from cosmic rays, have revealed anomalies, voids, and chambers that had remained hidden since the age of Khufu. In 2017, scientists announced the discovery of a massive cavity above the Grand Gallery. Its length was at least 30 meters, comparable to a passenger airplane. Its purpose remains unknown. It could be a structural feature, relieving pressure from the stones above. It could be an unfinished passage, abandoned by builders. Or it could be something more, a hidden chamber deliberately concealed. The thought of a vast, untouched space lying silent for 4,000 years stirs the imagination. What lies inside? Dust and emptiness? Or objects unseen? Perhaps scrolls? Perhaps artifacts? Perhaps something that could change our understanding of history? Thermal scans have revealed other anomalies, heat signatures in the stones suggesting voids or hidden passages near the base. Some believe these are hidden entrances, sealed corridors that lead to secret rooms. Ancient texts hint at such places, describing the pyramid as a house of eternity filled with hidden knowledge. What if, somewhere inside, beyond the reach of modern explorers, there is a chamber that holds records of the gods, records of the sky beings who, in myth, walked with humans? To believers in the alien hypothesis, these voids may not be empty, but are repositories of lost technology, perhaps left deliberately for a future age to discover. Imagine a sealed room, untouched since the day it was closed. Inside, devices humming faintly, stones glowing with energy, tools beyond comprehension. To us, they would be revelations. To the builders, they were simply part of the plan. To skeptics, these discoveries are reminders of the complexity of ancient construction. Stress relief chambers, hidden ramps, architectural ingenuity. Yet the mysteries remain unresolved. Why would builders leave such vast spaces unused? Why align shafts with stars if not for a cosmic purpose? Why seal passages so completely if not to guard something extraordinary? As you let your breath slow, imagine walking through the dark corridors of the pyramid. The air is heavy, still, untouched for ages. Your footsteps echo softly. A torch flickers against walls of stone. Ahead, the passage narrows, then opens into darkness. You step into a chamber, unseen for thousands of years. What would you find? Dust? Silence? Or the whisper of something greater? The pyramid is not dead stone. It is alive with questions. Each discovery deepens the mystery. Each scan reveals another layer. Each chamber, each void, invites us to imagine. Perhaps the pyramid is not only a tomb, but a machine, a device of stone with purposes yet unknown. Perhaps it holds secrets, not of death, but of life, not of earth, but of stars. Tonight, as you rest, let that mystery be your companion. The pyramid stands, silent yet speaking. Its hidden chambers are not only within stone, but within our minds. They are the voids where curiosity dwells, the spaces where imagination builds. Let them remain, vast and unanswered, cradling you gently into sleep. The idea that the Great Pyramid may have been touched by something beyond human hands is not new. In the 20th century, it was given voice by authors and researchers who dared to ask questions outside the bounds of traditional archaeology. Among them was Erich von Däniken, whose book, Chariots of the Gods, in 1968, ignited fascination and controversy alike. He proposed that ancient myths were not metaphors, but memories, distorted recollections of real encounters with beings from the stars. According to this view, the gods of Egypt were not supernatural deities, but extraterrestrials whose technology appeared divine to human eyes. The Great Pyramid, in this telling, was not only a tomb, but a monument shaped by alien influence, a physical reminder of contact between worlds. Supporters of this theory point to several elements. The precision of construction, unmatched by later pyramids, suggests to them a level of knowledge that appeared suddenly, almost as if imported from elsewhere. The alignment with Orion and Sirius, stars central to Egyptian cosmology, looks less like coincidence and more like deliberate communication with the heavens. Legends of Zep Tepi, the first time, when gods walked the earth, sound to believers like accounts of extraterrestrial visitation. Across cultures, similar themes emerge. The Sumerians spoke of the Anunnaki, gods from the sky who shaped humanity. The Mayans built pyramids aligned with celestial events and told stories of feathered serpents descending from the heavens. The Hindus described flying vimanas. To ancient astronaut theorists, these are not isolated myths, but fragments of a single global memory, echoes of a time when Earth was visited by others. Critics dismiss such ideas as fantasy, pointing out that human ingenuity, organization, and decades of labor can explain the pyramids. Archaeology uncovers worker villages, tools, and evidence of stone quarries. Yet even with these explanations, the allure of the alien hypothesis persists. Perhaps it is because the pyramid itself, silent and immutable, inspires wonder that cannot be contained by simple answers. Imagine the scene through the lens of this hypothesis. The desert is alive with workers, ropes, and ramps. But above, a craft hovers, its light guiding alignment, its energy easing impossible tasks. Priests watch in awe, interpreting what they see as the presence of gods. Pharaohs claim divinity as their right, not because of myth alone, but because they are in communion with beings beyond. The Great Pyramid rises not only as a tomb, but as a beacon, a message carved in stone, pointing skyward for others to find. The ancient astronaut hypothesis asks us not to abandon history, but to expand it. What if the myths are not inventions, but memories? What if humanity has always been part of a larger cosmic story, one we have only just begun to remember? As you let these thoughts drift, imagine the desert night. Silent, stars gleaming overhead. The pyramid stands. Its stones heavy, yet lightened in imagination. Its shape both human and cosmic. The theory may be unproven, but its power lies not in certainty, but in wonder. The possibility of ancient visitors is like the stars themselves, distant, unreachable, yet endlessly compelling. Let that possibility accompany you, gentle and steady, as your mind settles deeper into stillness, guided by the quiet riddle of stone and sky. For centuries, the Great Pyramid has been seen as a tomb, a monument to a king, a masterpiece of stone and symmetry. Yet in more recent times, some have proposed a different possibility, one that transforms the pyramid from a sepulcher into a kind of machine. This is the pyramid power hypothesis, the idea that the structure itself was designed not merely to honor the dead, but to harness forces of energy hidden in nature. According to this view, the pyramid is not passive, but active, a device of stone that resonates with the earth and the cosmos. The theory of pyramid power gained attention in the 20th century, particularly in the 1970s, when researchers and enthusiasts began to suggest that the unique shape of the pyramid could focus energy. Some claimed that food left inside small model pyramids stayed fresh longer, that razors sharpened when placed under their angles, that meditation within a pyramid shape produced heightened states of awareness. These experiments were often anecdotal, lacking strict scientific controls, yet they sparked curiosity. Why would the pyramid form, above all others, be associated with strange effects? Supporters of the energy hypothesis point first to geometry. The pyramid is a structure that tapers from a square base to a single point. This shape, they argue, channels natural forces, focusing them like a lens. Just as a magnifying glass can gather sunlight into a single burning spot, the pyramid may concentrate subtle energies, whether electromagnetic, gravitational, or something not yet understood. To skeptics, these are wild speculations, but to believers, they are explanations for mysteries left unanswered by conventional archaeology. The Great Pyramid, unlike later Egyptian pyramids, contains narrow shafts extending outward from the king's chamber and the queen's chamber. These shafts are angled precisely, aligned with specific stars in Orion and Sirius. Egyptologists interpret them as symbolic pathways for the soul of the king. But could they also have been functional? Channels for energy, conduits linking the interior of the pyramid with the cosmos? Inside the pyramid, the king's chamber is constructed of massive granite blocks, each resonant when struck. Some researchers suggest that the chamber was designed to vibrate, amplifying sound into powerful frequencies. Tests have shown that the chamber does indeed resonate at specific pitches. To the ancient Egyptians, sound was sacred. Chants, hymns, and rituals were believed to connect the human with the divine. Could the king's chamber have been more than symbolic? Could it have been tuned like an instrument, designed to harness acoustic energy? Granite itself contains quartz crystals, which are piezoelectric. When stressed, they generate small electrical charges. In theory, vibrations within the chamber could stimulate this effect. Was the pyramid built with this property in mind, transforming sound into energy? Some theorists believe so. Others suggest that the pyramid was designed to channel Earth's natural electromagnetic field. The Giza Plateau rests upon layers of limestone and granite, materials that could interact with subterranean water and create electric potential. The pyramid's descending passages and subterranean chamber may have played a role in amplifying or directing this energy. If true, the pyramid was not only a monument, but a power plant designed to generate and perhaps even transmit energy. This idea, bold and unproven, has been embraced by alternative historians who see the pyramid not as an isolated tomb, but as part of a network of energy structures across the earth. Pyramids exist not only in Egypt, but in Mexico, in China, in Central America, in places far apart yet mysteriously similar. Could they all be part of a single system designed to resonate with the planet itself? The alignment of Giza's pyramids with Orion's belt, the mathematical ratios embedded in their dimensions, the precision of their construction, all of these details fit neatly into the theory that they were built with purposes beyond burial. Imagine, for a moment, that the pyramid was indeed a machine. At dawn, the sun strikes its gleaming limestone casing, flooding the structure with light. Within, sound chants vibrate the granite walls, stimulating the quartz crystals. Water flows beneath, creating electromagnetic potential. Energy builds, concentrates, and perhaps radiates outward, upward, into the sky. Was this energy spiritual, intended to guide the pharaoh's soul? Was it practical, providing power to a civilization? Or was it something more mysterious, perhaps a signal sent across space? Some proponents of the alien hypothesis believe that the pyramid was designed as a beacon, a transmitter that announced Earth's presence to the stars. To them, the shafts pointing to Orion and Sirius were not only symbolic, but functional, directing energy toward those constellations, reaching across the void to others who might be listening. Skeptics dismiss these ideas as fantasies, noting the lack of concrete evidence. Yet the pyramid's mysteries remain. Why was such immense effort devoted to a tomb when later pharaohs settled for smaller, less precise monuments? Why do the shafts align with stars? Why does the king's chamber resonate like an instrument? Why does the pyramid encode mathematical constants like pi and phi? If these features were accidental, they are accidents of extraordinary coincidence. If they were deliberate, they reveal knowledge far beyond what we assume of the ancient world. The energy hypothesis, whether true or not, captures the imagination because it suggests that the pyramid is not silent but alive, not dead stone but a dynamic structure. It turns the pyramid into a participant in the universe, not merely a marker of death, but a symbol of power, connection, and communication. Imagine lying within the king's chamber, the air heavy, the stone pressing down. From above, the silence broken by a low hum, a resonance that vibrates through your bones. Imagine that in that moment, you feel connected not only to the earth, but to the stars, as if the pyramid itself were a bridge between worlds. Such imagery soothes as much as it excites, for it reminds us that mystery is not always to be solved, but to be felt. The pyramid, as a power plant, as an energy device, may or may not be true, but as a story, it carries power of its own. It invites us to see the monument not only as a relic of the past, but as a question for the future. Could there be truths about energy, resonance, and the universe that we have yet to rediscover? Could the ancients, guided perhaps by themselves or perhaps by others, have known something we have forgotten? As your breath slows, let the thought rest gently. The pyramid stands, its stones heavy, but its meaning light as air. It may be tomb, it may be machine, it may be both, or neither. What matters is the mystery, the quiet hum of possibility, the whisper that ancient knowledge is still with us, waiting. The Great Pyramid is not only a monument, but a lullaby in stone, a structure that sings even in silence. Let that song guide you, soft and steady, as sleep draws near. When we think of pyramids, most minds turn first to Egypt, to the sands of Giza and the towering stone giants that guard the Nile. But Egypt is not alone in building pyramids. Across the world, separated by oceans, separated by centuries, other civilizations too raise triangular monuments of stone and earth. In Mexico, in Peru, in China, even deep in the jungles of Southeast Asia, pyramids rise. The question that drifts softly through history is why? Why did so many cultures, often with no contact with one another, build such similar shapes? Was it coincidence? Was it the natural choice of architecture, stable and strong? Or was it something more, some shared influence, some memory passed across time? In the jungles of Central America, the Mayans built pyramids that still stand, their steps rising toward the sky. At Chichen Itza, the Temple of Kukulkan, also known as El Castillo, dominates the plaza. Each of its 4 stairways contains 91 steps, and with the top platform, they add to 365, the number of days in the solar year. During the equinox, the setting sun casts a shadow that slithers like a serpent down the stairs, uniting sky and earth, light and shadow. The pyramid is not merely stone. It is calendar, observatory, temple, and symbol. The Aztecs, too, built grand pyramids, like the Pyramid of the Sun at Teotihuacan, a city whose origins remain shrouded. The pyramid rises in massive terraces, oriented to celestial events, aligned with the path of the sun. Scholars believe it was a place of ritual and sacrifice, yet the precision of its alignment suggests astronomical knowledge equal in depth to that of Egypt. In South America, the Inca and their predecessors built stepped pyramids and ceremonial platforms. At Corral, in Peru, pyramids date back nearly as far as those in Egypt, a reminder that monumental architecture was not confined to one continent. Thousands of miles away, in China, hidden beneath soil and vegetation, lie massive earthen pyramids, burial mounds of emperors. Some rise hundreds of feet, their slopes now covered with trees, yet their shapes unmistakable. In Cambodia, at Angkor, temple pyramids served as mountains of the gods, steps for deities to descend, ladders for kings to ascend. Across the world, the form repeats, a broad base, narrowing to a peak, pointing always to the heavens. Some say the answer is simple. The pyramid is the most stable shape, resistant to time and gravity, easy to build high without collapse. A child stacking blocks will instinctively build a pyramid, but others look deeper. Why are so many pyramids aligned with stars, with solstices, with equinoxes? Why do so many cultures tell of gods descending from the sky, teaching them to build? Was it independent genius? Or was there a shared source, a spark carried from one civilization to another by visitors not of this earth? Believers in the ancient astronaut hypothesis point to these parallels as evidence of contact. They imagine beings traveling from one land to another, guiding humanity, leaving behind monuments that echoed the same design. The pyramid, they say, was not just chosen for stability, but for symbolism, a universal sign pointing skyward, a beacon recognizable across space. The alignment of the Pyramids of Giza with Orion mirrors the alignment of Teotihuacan's pyramids with celestial patterns. The serpent shadow at Chichen Itza echoes myths of sky serpents in Asia. The buried pyramids of China align with cardinal directions as precisely as those of Egypt. Could these similarities be chance, or do they hint at a hidden connection? Skeptics insist the answer lies in human universals. The sky is shared by all. The sun rises and sets everywhere. The stars are constant companions. Any culture gazing upward could find meaning and build monuments to mirror what they saw. Yet even in this explanation, there is beauty. The pyramid becomes not a tomb alone, not a temple alone, but a mirror of the heavens, a reflection of cosmic order cast into stone. Imagine standing on the Giza Plateau, and then traveling in thought across oceans to stand at Teotihuacan, or Chichen Itza, or Corral, or Xi'an. The air changes, the languages differ, but the forms remain. Stone rising, pointing, aligning, reaching. Humanity, in distant places, whispering the same thought into the universe. If aliens were involved, then the pyramid is their signature across Earth, the same lesson taught again and again. If not, then the pyramid is evidence of a deeper unity of the human spirit, a shared instinct to connect Earth to sky. As you let your breath slow, picture the Earth itself, dotted with pyramids, each one a point of light in the web of human imagination. Egypt, Mexico, Peru, China, Cambodia, all joined across time, across space, across oceans. The mystery is not only in how they were built, but in why the form repeats. The answer may never be certain, but the question itself is soothing, a lullaby whispered in stone across continents. As the world sleeps, the pyramids remain silent, aligned, patient, waiting for us to listen, waiting for us to dream. For all the mysteries, legends, and alternative theories that surround the Great Pyramid, there is also the steady voice of orthodox archaeology, the discipline that studies evidence with patience, excavation, and method. To mainstream scholars, the pyramid is not an alien artifact, not an energy machine, not a cosmic beacon, but the product of human will and ingenuity. It is, in their telling, the tomb of Pharaoh Khufu, built by tens of thousands of workers over the course of 2 decades, a triumph of organization and labor. Archaeologists point to the quarries near Giza, where marks of chisels can still be seen, the outlines of blocks cut and removed. They show how blocks of limestone, softer than granite, could be cut with copper tools and dolerite pounding stones. They explain how granite beams from Aswan were transported on barges down the Nile, floated during the inundation when the river rose high. They highlight the worker villages discovered near the pyramid, with remains of bakeries, breweries, and homes, suggesting a community of laborers rather than slaves. Bones of cattle and fish show evidence of a steady supply of food, indicating workers were fed well, cared for, even respected for their service. Some workers' graves reveal healed injuries, proof that medicine was practiced and that these laborers were not discarded but valued. To the Orthodox view, the pyramid is a monument not to aliens, but to Egyptians themselves, a symbol of their society's power, faith, and ability to organize massive projects. They emphasize the evidence of ramps, fragments of mud brick and limestone that could have been used to build ascending paths for hauling stones. Small-scale reconstructions show that with enough manpower, sledges, and water poured on sand to reduce friction, blocks can indeed be moved. Levers and counterweights multiply human force. With thousands of workers laboring together, progress is slow but steady. To them, the question is not whether the pyramid could be built, but how the Egyptians chose to build it. The precision of alignment, they argue, can be explained through careful observation of the stars, using tools like the Merket, a simple sighting instrument, and the Bay, a plumb line. By tracking the stars night after night, the Egyptians could align structures to cardinal directions with remarkable accuracy. Mathematics, too, was within their reach. While they may not have known pi or phi as abstract constants, they used ratios that naturally approximated them, discovered through practical geometry. For example, by dividing a circle into parts or measuring ropes with knots, they could achieve proportions that mirror these numbers. To scholars, these are not mysteries, but demonstrations of Egyptian skill. They remind us that we should not underestimate ancient people. Just because knowledge seems advanced to us does not mean it was impossible for them. Egyptians observed the heavens nightly, farmed the land season after season, and practiced geometry for centuries before Khufu. The pyramid is the culmination of their accumulated wisdom. Yet even within this view, there is space for wonder. The sheer scale of the project required coordination on a level rarely seen in history. Tens of thousands fed, housed, and directed, working in rhythm, building something meant to last forever. It speaks of a civilization's devotion to its ruler, its gods, and its vision of eternity. In this telling, the pyramid is not diminished, but elevated. It becomes a monument not to aliens, but to humans themselves, to what people can achieve when united by faith and purpose. And perhaps, for those who listen, this is just as inspiring. Imagine the sound of thousands of workers chanting together, pulling ropes, their footsteps thudding on ramps, their voices rising like waves. Imagine overseers marking lines in the sand, astronomers sighting stars, scribes recording supplies, bakers kneading bread, brewers preparing jars of beer. Life thrummed around the pyramid as it rose, a city of workers built to raise a mountain of stone. As your breath slows, picture not aliens, not machines, but human hands, sunburned, calloused, determined, setting stone upon stone. The orthodox view may explain the pyramid in earthly terms, but its power remains the same. It is still a wonder, still a mystery in its endurance, still a lullaby carved in stone. And whether guided by gods, aliens, or simply their own vision, the Egyptians achieved something that has not faded in 4,000 years. Tonight, let that thought soothe you, that human beings, with patience, faith, and time, can shape eternity. In the ancient world, people looked up at the night sky and saw gods, spirits, and powers greater than themselves. In the modern world, when people look up and see strange lights, they give them a different name: unidentified flying objects, or UFOs. The connection between the Great Pyramid and UFOs may seem distant at first, one rooted in the sands of ancient Egypt, the other in the skies of our contemporary world. Yet for many who ponder mysteries both past and present, the two are linked in a continuous thread of wonder. Reports of unusual objects in the sky have existed for centuries. In medieval chronicles, glowing discs were described above towns. In the 19th century, strange cigar-shaped craft were reported moving silently. But it was in the mid-20th century that UFOs truly entered the human imagination. In 1947, a pilot named Kenneth Arnold reported seeing 9 crescent-shaped objects flying at tremendous speed over the Cascade Mountains in Washington state. His description led to the birth of the phrase flying saucer. Just weeks later, in Roswell, New Mexico, a mysterious crash sparked rumors of a recovered alien craft, rumors that have never fully faded. From that moment, the world became attuned to the skies, watching for signs of the unknown. Through the decades, sightings multiplied. In 1952, radar operators and pilots in Washington, D.C. tracked unidentified objects moving with impossible speed over the capital. In Belgium, in the late 1980s and early 1990s, hundreds reported massive triangular craft with bright lights hovering silently in the night. In the 2000s and 2010s, military pilots captured footage of objects now called UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena, moving in ways that defied known physics, accelerating without sound, shifting direction instantly, vanishing from sensors. Governments that once dismissed such reports as fantasy began to acknowledge them, releasing documents and videos that admitted not everything in the skies could be explained. To some, these modern sightings are nothing but misidentified aircraft, drones, or atmospheric effects. To others, they are the latest chapter in a much older story. If beings from beyond once visited Earth, perhaps guiding the building of the pyramids, could they not still be here, watching, visiting, revealing themselves in brief glimpses? The deserts of Egypt have their own share of stories. Travelers speak of lights moving strangely over the Giza plateau, glowing orbs seen hovering near the pyramids at night. Photographs circulate, grainy and uncertain, but filled with suggestion. Skeptics dismiss them, but the thought persists. Perhaps the pyramids are not only monuments to the past, but also beacons, sites that continue to attract attention from the skies. In ufology, there is a concept of window areas, places on Earth where sightings are more frequent, where the veil between the known and the unknown seems thinner. The pyramids, Stonehenge, the Nazca lines. These monuments are often included in such lists. Were they built as landing sites, as markers for visitors, as tools of communication? Or is the human mind simply inclined to cluster mysteries together, weaving them into a single story? For those who listen to the stories, the details matter less than the feeling they inspire. Imagine standing by the pyramid on a quiet night. The stone looms dark against the sky, its edges sharp under moonlight. The desert is silent, the air cool. Then above, a light appears, hovering, shifting without sound. It moves faster than any aircraft, changes direction instantly, then vanishes as if swallowed by the stars. Was it imagination? Was it a satellite, an airplane, or was it something else? For those who experience such moments, the answer lingers unresolved, a memory that refuses to fade. Ufologists often compare such modern experiences with ancient myths. The gods descending from the heavens, radiant and powerful, may have been described in the language of their time. Today, we speak of UFOs, aliens, and advanced craft. Perhaps the phenomena are the same, only the interpretation changes. Just as Egyptians may have seen Osiris or Horus, modern witnesses see lights and craft. Across millennia, the sky continues to whisper of visitors. Even governments now take notice. The United States has established programs to investigate UAPs. Reports presented to lawmakers acknowledge that some objects defy explanation. They move without visible propulsion, resist detection, accelerate beyond known capabilities. Military pilots, trained observers, describe encounters that leave them shaken, and yet no definitive answers are given. They are unidentified, unexplained, unresolved. To believers, this is confirmation. To skeptics, it is merely a puzzle awaiting solutions. But to dreamers, it is an invitation. If there are objects in the sky today that cannot be explained, then perhaps the stories of the past, the myths of gods descending, the mysteries of the pyramids, are not fantasy, but memory. Imagine the connection. Ancient builders guided by luminous beings, modern pilots confronted by luminous craft. The timeline stretches unbroken, the same mystery appearing in different forms, reminding us that we are part of something larger. As you rest, think of this continuity. The Great Pyramid rises from the desert, silent, eternal. Above it, stars blaze, constant across millennia. Between them, strange lights move, sometimes seen, sometimes hidden. To the ancients, they were gods. To us, they are UFOs. To the future, they may be something else, yet unnamed. The truth may always slip from our grasp, but the mystery itself is steady, soothing. It is not only in the evidence, but in the wonder that these stories find their power. The pyramid whispers of the past. The sky reveals glimpses of the present. Together, they invite us to dream of futures where contact is real, where questions find answers, where humanity learns it was never alone. Until then, the lights remain, fleeting and strange, like thoughts that drift through the mind at the edge of sleep. And as you breathe slowly, let that image carry you. The dark mass of the pyramid beneath the stars, and above it, a light, silent, watching, vanishing into the night, leaving only a question, gentle and endless, to cradle you into rest. What would it mean if the stories were true? What would it mean if thousands of years ago, visitors from beyond our world came to Earth and touched the sands of Egypt, guiding human hands, shaping stone into forms that would endure for eternity? To imagine this is to let the mind drift gently into possibility, not to declare certainty, but to wonder, slowly, carefully, like tracing a star across the night sky. If aliens truly participated in the building of the pyramids, the first and most immediate implication is that humanity has never been alone. For generations, we have looked up and asked the question, are we solitary in this vast universe? If the pyramids are evidence of contact, then the answer has already been given. Long before telescopes, long before rockets, we were part of a larger story. The Great Pyramid would then not only be a tomb or a monument, but a marker of alliance, a collaboration between the human and the other. Imagine the scene. Workers gather on the Giza plateau, ropes in hand, sledges loaded with stone. They strain, they pull, they sweat under the sun. And then, above them, a presence appears. Not necessarily a great ship descending, but perhaps a glow, a vibration, a figure that radiates light. The people fall silent, awed. Instructions are given, gestures shown, devices revealed. The impossible becomes possible. A stone that weighed beyond human strength lifts as if weightless. A ramp once thought endless is no longer required. The work continues, but differently, guided by knowledge from beyond. To the Egyptians, these beings are gods. To us, they would be aliens. But in the moment, the distinction is meaningless. They are helpers, teachers, guides. And when the work is done, when the pyramid gleams in the desert sun, they depart, leaving behind not their tools, but their imprint. their memory preserved in stone and myth. If this happened, then the myths of Osiris, of Horus, of Thoth are not just symbolic tales, but echoes of reality, distorted through human memory, but rooted in truth. The gods descending from the sky were not figments of imagination, but beings of flesh and light, their technology perceived as magic, their presence enshrined in ritual. The shafts pointing to Orion and Sirius would then be more than symbolic. They would be deliberate alignments, signals directed toward the home worlds of these visitors, markers so that others might know. Here, on this planet, contact was made. The pyramid becomes not only a monument to eternity, but a lighthouse, shining across time and space. If aliens truly participated, the implications ripple outward. History itself must be rewritten. No longer would the rise of civilization be explained only by human effort. The sudden leaps in architecture, astronomy, and mathematics might be seen as gifts, seeds planted by those who came from elsewhere. The unity of pyramid structures across the globe, in Egypt, in Mexico, in Peru, in China, would no longer be coincidence but evidence of a shared influence, a global lesson taught by traveling teachers. Humanity's story would then be one of guidance, of assistance, of connection. But what would that mean for us now? Would it lessen our achievement to admit that we were helped? Or would it expand our identity to recognize that we are part of a community larger than Earth? Perhaps both. To some, the thought of alien assistance diminishes human genius. To others, it enriches it, showing that humanity was chosen, visited, taught, invited to rise higher than it could have alone. If aliens truly participated, then perhaps they left behind more than stone. Perhaps they left hidden knowledge, chambers still undiscovered within the pyramid, voids filled not with dust, but with devices, texts, or codes waiting for us to find them when we are ready. The mysterious cavity discovered above the Grand Gallery in recent years might not be structural at all, but intentional. A vault containing something meant for a future age. Perhaps the pyramid itself is the message, a structure too perfect, too immense, too enduring to be ignored, a silent declaration across time. We were here. You are not alone. And if that is true, then what of today? Do they still watch? The lights in the sky, the modern UFOs, the unidentified aerial phenomena captured by pilots? Are these the same visitors, returning to check on their work? The idea is soothing in its own way. To think that humanity is not forgotten, that we are observed, perhaps even guided still, is to imagine that the universe is not indifferent, but connected. It is a story not of isolation, but of belonging. Skeptics remind us that there is no physical proof, no device, no artifact unmistakably alien. But the absence of proof is also a kind of silence, and silence, like the desert at night, invites imagination. The pyramid remains, mute yet eloquent, its stones whispering not answers, but questions. And in those questions, we find rest. As you breathe gently, let the thought settle. What if aliens truly participated? What if their presence is written in every angle of the pyramid, in every block of stone, in every myth of gods from the sky? The truth may never be confirmed, but the possibility itself is a comfort. It tells us that mystery is not only behind us, but around us, above us, within us. It tells us that the story of humanity may be part of a greater tale, one that spans the stars. Imagine lying beneath the night sky, the pyramid at your side, Orion shining above. The stars are constant, the pyramid eternal. and between them lies a bridge of imagination. Perhaps once, long ago, that bridge was real. Perhaps it still is. The thought is enough. Let it cradle you now, gentle and unending, as sleep draws near, as the mystery of the pyramid continues to hum softly in the silence of the desert night. If we allow ourselves to imagine that the Great Pyramid was not only a tomb, but also a monument shaped by knowledge from beyond, then the question naturally follows: what impact would such an event have had on Egyptian civilization itself? Even if one does not believe in alien involvement, the pyramid remains a turning point in the history of Egypt, a symbol that shaped religion, politics, art, and society for millennia. But if extraterrestrial guidance was part of its construction, the influence becomes even more profound, a force that may have altered the very trajectory of one of humanity's greatest civilizations. Consider the society that built the pyramid. In the age of Khufu, Egypt was already a land of remarkable organization. Farmers tilled the fertile floodplains of the Nile, scribes recorded harvests and taxes, priests interpreted the will of the gods. But the Pyramid Project united them all in a single endeavor of unprecedented scale. Tens of thousands of workers, craftsmen, engineers, and priests labored in harmony. Such coordination required centralized authority, a strong belief in the divine role of the pharaoh, and a vision of eternity that justified decades of toil. If aliens truly participated, whether through direct aid or through knowledge shared, the pharaoh's authority would have been strengthened beyond measure. Imagine Khufu standing before his people, not only as king, but as intermediary with radiant beings from the sky. His rule would be validated not only by tradition, but by the presence of powers greater than humanity itself. Such a claim would make his authority unquestionable, his divinity undeniable, and his dynasty secure. Even if aliens were absent, the pyramid itself became a tool of power. Its immense size and perfection inspired awe in subjects and foreigners alike. It demonstrated that Egypt could mobilize resources on a scale unmatched anywhere else on Earth at that time. It made visible the idea that the pharaoh was not merely a ruler, but a god on earth, one whose tomb could pierce the heavens and whose soul would join the stars. The cultural impact of this belief was immense. Egyptian religion became ever more focused on the journey of the soul after death. The pyramid texts, inscribed in later tombs, describe spells and prayers to guide the pharaoh into the afterlife, joining Osiris in the sky. If aliens truly influence the building, then these texts may preserve distorted memories of real encounters. Rituals designed not only to honor gods, but to replicate contact with beings from beyond. Egyptian art, too, reflected this cosmic vision. Wall paintings and carvings depicted pharaohs as larger than life, striding alongside gods, holding staffs of power, crowned with symbols of the sun and stars. Temples were aligned to solstices and equinoxes, reflecting the same obsession with the sky as the pyramids. Everyday life was touched by this cosmic orientation, for even the simplest farmer lived in a world where the pharaoh was a bridge to the heavens. Politically, the impact was stability. The Old Kingdom, in which the Great Pyramid was built, was a time of centralized power, when resources flowed to the capital and monuments rose that have endured to this day. The pyramid was not only a tomb, but also a project that bound society together. Workers were fed, housed, and cared for, creating loyalty and identity. To say one had worked on the pyramid was to share in the pharaoh's eternity. If alien influence was present, then perhaps that stability was reinforced by the perception that Egypt was chosen, favored by beings from the stars. The sense of destiny, of uniqueness, would have been immense. Such a belief could explain the confidence of Egyptian civilization, its sense that it was eternal, unchanging, blessed by the gods. Yet the impact was not only internal. Foreign visitors, traders, and emissaries who saw the pyramid would have been stunned. To stand before such a monument was to feel the power of Egypt. Even today, travelers are humbled. In antiquity, the effect would have been overwhelming. Egypt's reputation as a land of wonder spread, its culture admired, its rulers feared. If stories of alien contact circulated, even in whispers, they would have magnified this aura. Egypt would be seen not only as powerful, but as chosen, linked to powers beyond the earth. The pyramid also influenced time itself. Its presence created a sense of continuity, a feeling that Egypt was eternal. Dynasties rose and fell, but the pyramid endured. Priests and kings pointed to it as proof that the order of the cosmos was stable, that Ma'at, the principle of balance and harmony, was upheld. If aliens had a role, then the pyramid was not only proof of human greatness, but a reminder of cosmic connection, a constant that guided Egyptian civilization through centuries. The legacy of the pyramid can be traced in later architecture, in temples aligned with stars, in obelisks pointing to the heavens, in the very idea that kingship was divine. Without the pyramid, Egypt would still have been remarkable. With it, Egypt became eternal. And if aliens truly participated, then Egyptian civilization was not only remarkable, but unique in a way that still stirs imagination today. As you let your breath slow, picture the impact not in abstract terms, but in human lives. A farmer leaves his fields to labor on the pyramid, his sweat joining the stones. He tells his children he is building eternity, and they believe. A priest chants in the temple, his eyes on the stars, confident that gods once walked among them. A pharaoh stands at the top of his monument, gazing across the desert, certain that his soul will ascend to Orion. Whether aliens stood beside him or not, the belief is real, the impact undeniable. Egyptian civilization was shaped by stone and by story, by labor and by legend, by the visible pyramid and the invisible mysteries that surrounded it. Tonight, as you rest, let that impact soothe you. The pyramid is not only a relic, but a reminder that belief, power, and wonder can shape a civilization, and that mystery, whether explained by human hands or alien visitors, can guide hearts and minds for millennia. The Great Pyramid stands still, and in its shadow, Egyptian civilization flourished, leaving us a legacy of stone, of art, of myth, and of endless questions that lull us gently into sleep. From the moment the Great Pyramid of Giza first rose above the desert sands, it has stirred debate. Even in antiquity, Greek historians such as Herodotus wrote stories of its construction, stories that spoke of slaves and impossible labors, stories that echoed across centuries. In the modern era, the pyramid became a battlefield of ideas where scholars, archaeologists, engineers, and dreamers each offered their own explanations. The debates have never ceased, and they continue even now in universities, on television, and in the quiet corners of human imagination. Mainstream archaeology holds firm that the pyramid was built during the reign of Pharaoh Khufu in the 4th dynasty, around 2600 BCE. Radiocarbon dating of mortar, inscriptions found within hidden chambers bearing the names of Khufu's work crews, and the style of construction all anchor it in this time. To archaeologists, these pieces of evidence are solid, the foundation of their certainty. Yet critics challenge this view, asking whether the evidence is as clear as it seems. The so-called quarry marks naming Khufu were discovered in the 19th century by an explorer whose methods were questioned, leading some to wonder whether they were genuine or altered. Radiocarbon dating offers ranges, not exact dates, and skeptics point out that some results differ by centuries. To orthodox scholars, these doubts are distractions. To alternative thinkers, they are cracks in the story. Another line of debate concerns the methods of construction. Scholars argue for ramps, long straight ramps, spiral ramps, internal ramps. Engineers attempt to model them, but no definitive traces remain. Some ramps may have been dismantled, their material reused, but the absence of clear evidence invites speculation. Alternative theorists seize upon this absence, suggesting instead that lost technologies or even alien assistance must have played a role. Academic voices dismiss such claims as pseudoscience, warning that to invoke aliens is to deny the achievements of the Egyptians themselves. Yet the alien hypothesis refuses to vanish, precisely because the orthodox explanations, while possible, remain difficult for many to imagine on such a scale. The debate then becomes not only about stones and ramps, but about the very nature of knowledge. Who decides what is possible? Who decides what is credible? Scholars point to worker villages, tools, and human remains as evidence that people built the pyramid. Alternative theorists point to alignments with stars, mathematical constants, and legends of gods from the sky as evidence of something more. Each side accuses the other of blindness. Academics accuse dreamers of ignoring facts, while dreamers accuse academics of ignoring mysteries. The controversy expands beyond construction into meaning. Archaeologists say the pyramid is a tomb, built for Khufu, part of the Egyptian obsession with the afterlife. Alternative thinkers say it is too grand, too complex, to serve merely as a tomb. They argue it was an observatory, a power plant, a beacon, a library of stone encoding forgotten knowledge. Academics reply that no evidence supports such claims. But the absence of evidence is, for many, precisely the invitation to wonder. These debates spill into popular culture. Television programs portray alien builders. Books sell millions by asking forbidden questions. Documentaries draw in viewers with promises of hidden chambers and ancient secrets. Scholars criticize such shows, warning that they mislead the public, yet the public continues to watch, continues to dream. The pyramid thrives on mystery, and mystery cannot be contained by academic journals alone. Within academia itself, there are disagreements. Some scholars argue for symbolic functions beyond burial, suggesting the pyramid's shafts and alignments had ritual or astronomical meaning. Others insist on purely practical explanations. Engineers debate whether known tools could truly shape and place the granite beams of the king's chamber. Egyptologists debate the labor force, slaves or workers, seasonal laborers or permanent crews. Even within the scholarly world, certainty is elusive. The pyramid resists final answers, and so debate itself becomes the constant. This controversy is not only about history, but about human nature. We are drawn to explain, but we are also drawn to wonder. For some, the orthodox account is satisfying. Human beings, through ingenuity and effort, built the pyramid. For others, the orthodox account leaves something missing, a sense of awe that demands a larger answer. And so the debates continue, each side certain, each side unsatisfied. Imagine, for a moment, a conference room where archaeologists present slides of excavation sites showing bread ovens, workers' homes, copper chisels. In the same building, another group presents star charts showing Orion's belt aligned perfectly with the pyramids, equations showing pi and phi encoded in stone. Each group speaks passionately, convinced of its truth. Between them, the pyramid itself remains silent, refusing to confirm or deny, allowing all interpretations to flourish. Perhaps this is the true power of the Great Pyramid. Not that it holds one answer, but that it holds all questions. Scholars debate, dreamers speculate, pilgrims gaze, and the pyramid, steady in the sand, endures, its stones unchanging, its meaning shifting like desert wind. As you let your breath deepen, imagine the voices fading, the arguments quieting, until only the pyramid remains. Whether a tomb or a machine, whether built by men or guided by others, it continues to stand, a mystery that invites both scholarship and story. The debates will continue tomorrow, and next year, and for centuries. But tonight, let them drift away, like whispers carried on the breeze, leaving only the gentle presence of stone under stars. Across time and cultures, monuments are rarely only what they appear to be. A temple is not only stone, but also faith. A tomb is not only a resting place, but also a symbol of eternity. And the Great Pyramid, though built of millions of tons of limestone and granite, has always been more than a tomb. To those who raised it, to those who gazed upon it, to those who continue to study it, it is a symbol, a beacon that ties earth to the heavens. If one allows imagination to drift, the pyramid may be seen as a cosmic lighthouse, a structure designed not only for the dead king, but for the living cosmos. Its sharp angles and polished casing stones once gleamed in the desert sun so brightly that from miles away it appeared as a shining mountain. Sailors on the Nile saw it glint. Travelers across the desert followed its light. And perhaps, if one stretches thought even further, beings beyond Earth might have seen its glow and recognized it as a marker of civilization. The symbolism of the pyramid as a beacon begins with its form. Rising from a square base and tapering to a point, it is like a frozen ray of light, a sunbeam captured in stone. The Egyptians associated the pyramid shape with the primordial mound, the first land to rise from the waters of creation, upon which the sun god Ra emerged. Thus, each pyramid was a miniature cosmos, a symbol of creation and rebirth. But beyond that, the Great Pyramid's scale and precision suggest intention that reaches beyond myth. Its alignment to cardinal directions and to the stars hints that it was designed to connect Earth with the order of the universe. In this sense, it was not only a tomb for Khufu, but also a symbolic axis, a point where heaven and earth touched. Imagine the shafts of the king's chamber pointing toward Orion, the constellation of Osiris. To Egyptians, this was the soul's pathway to join the gods. To others, it looks like a signal aimed at the sky, a message in geometry. The pyramid, then, becomes not only a vessel for the soul, but a beacon for the stars. This symbolic meaning deepens when one considers the idea of permanence. Unlike temples, that could be rebuilt, or houses that crumbled, the pyramid was designed to last forever. Its very endurance is a statement. Here we are. Here we remain. We are eternal. For the Egyptians, it was a declaration that the king's soul would never perish. For modern interpreters, it may be a message meant to outlast civilizations, a monument whose form would be recognizable, even to eyes not human. What would an alien traveler see if they approached Earth and found the Great Pyramid? They would see order, symmetry, mathematics. They would see intent, intelligence, a signal that this world is inhabited by beings who understand geometry, astronomy, permanence. The pyramid as a beacon, then, is not only symbolic, but practical, a communication across time and perhaps across space. Even in human history, the pyramid has served as a beacon of meaning. The Greeks and Romans marveled at it, considering it one of the seven wonders. Medieval travelers saw it as proof of ancient wisdom. Renaissance thinkers studied its proportions, seeking hidden codes. Modern architects, mystics, and scientists alike have looked to its form for inspiration. Each age receives its light differently, yet the pyramid continues to shine. Not literally now, for its polished casing is gone, but symbolically as a constant presence of mystery. If one imagines aliens guiding its construction, then its role as a beacon becomes even clearer. It is not only for humans, but for others, a lighthouse to the stars, a signal that Earth has been touched, that Earth has been claimed or marked. Perhaps the alignment with Orion is not only for souls, but for navigation, a cosmic map carved in stone. Perhaps its proportions, encoding pi and phi, are not accidents, but messages, mathematical signatures that any intelligent being would recognize. Mathematics is universal, after all, a language that transcends species. By embedding numbers in stone, the builders may have created a message that says, "We are intelligent. We understand the cosmos. We are part of a larger story." But even without aliens, the symbolism of the pyramid as a beacon holds power. To the Egyptians, it was a beacon of faith, a shining mountain pointing the way to the afterlife. To later generations, it was a beacon of wonder, proof that humans can achieve greatness. To us today, it is a beacon of mystery, reminding us that we do not know everything, that the past is deeper than we imagine. Its symbolism soothes us because it assures us that we are connected to something larger. A beacon does not need to be literal. It is enough that it represents guidance. As you breathe slowly, picture the pyramid glowing under the sun, as it once did, its limestone casing reflecting light so bright it could be seen from far away. Picture it at night, aligned with Orion, pointing silently toward the stars. Picture it enduring through centuries, a constant flame of stone that never goes out. Whether meant for gods, for humans, or for visitors from the cosmos, it remains a symbol of connection. It is the light of eternity captured in geometry. The Great Pyramid may no longer shine as it once did, but in imagination, it is still luminous, still a beacon calling across time, whispering to all who see it, "Look upward, wonder, dream." And in that whisper, there is comfort. The beacon does not command, it invites. It invites you to drift, to rest, to join in the endless cycle of curiosity and calm. The pyramid, as a cosmic beacon, is not only for the stars, but also for you, here and now, guiding your thoughts gently toward sleep. For more than 4,000 years, the Great Pyramid has guarded its secrets. standing silent above the sands as generations of explorers and scholars attempted to unlock its mysteries. In the past, men with torches and chisels crawled through narrow shafts, forcing their way into hidden corridors. Later, archaeologists mapped chambers, measured angles, and studied inscriptions. Today, the tools of discovery are changing. As human technology advances, so too does our ability to peer inside the pyramid without disturbing its ancient stones. The future of research promises revelations that may reshape everything we believe about this monument. Already, methods such as ground-penetrating radar and muon tomography have begun to reveal voids and anomalies hidden deep within. Muons, particles born of cosmic rays, pass through stone and can be detected to create images of density inside vast structures. Using these particles, scientists have discovered cavities above the Grand Gallery, spaces that had remained undetected for millennia. Such discoveries suggest that many secrets still lie within. In the future, more sensitive detectors, more precise imaging, and perhaps even miniature robotic explorers will allow us to map every corner of the pyramid without lifting a single block. The question then becomes, what will we find? Some predict new chambers filled with artifacts, scrolls, statues, tools, or treasures buried to preserve knowledge. Others imagine nothing more than structural voids, spaces designed to relieve pressure and keep the monument stable. But for those who let imagination wander, the possibilities stretch further. Could there be evidence of lost technologies, of knowledge forgotten by history, even of contact with beings from beyond? The promise of discovery excites scholars and dreamers alike. Technology also advances in the analysis of materials. New techniques in chemical study can determine the origin of stones, the methods used in quarrying, even the composition of mortar that holds the blocks together. Already, analysis of the mortar has shown it contains tiny fossils, proving it was made from Nile mud mixed with limestone fragments. Future advances may reveal whether the Egyptians experimented with forms of early concrete or whether they used chemical means to soften stone, shaping blocks with methods unknown to us. Each discovery adds a piece to the puzzle, yet each piece often raises more questions. Advances in astronomy and computer simulation also contribute to our understanding. By reconstructing the night sky as it appeared thousands of years ago, we can test alignments more accurately. Programs can model how the shafts of the pyramid point toward Orion or Sirius at specific dates, refining our understanding of their purpose. Was the pyramid a tomb alone, or also an observatory, a cosmic calendar, a beacon aligned to the heavens? Future simulations may provide answers, or invite even deeper mysteries. Imagine, in the years to come, sending drones the size of insects into shafts too narrow for humans, their cameras mapping every inch, their sensors recording air untouched for centuries. Imagine 3D models so precise that every block, every joint, every crack is captured, allowing scientists around the world to study the pyramid virtually, to walk its corridors in digital space. Imagine artificial intelligence analyzing patterns, finding symmetries we have overlooked, uncovering codes hidden in the geometry. These possibilities are not distant dreams, but near realities, for technology grows quickly and curiosity never rests. Yet with each advance comes a question of restraint. Should we open every chamber, reveal every secret, or should some mysteries remain, preserved by silence and time. The pyramid has endured so long precisely because it is more than stone. It is mystery itself, and to unravel it entirely might change how we see it forever. Scholars debate how far to go, whether to drill, whether to open voids, whether to risk disturbing what has lain undisturbed for ages. Some argue for caution, for respect, for letting the pyramid remain as it is. Others argue that knowledge must be pursued, that the secrets of the past can illuminate the future. Beyond the academic and scientific, there is also the popular imagination. As technology reveals more, public fascination will grow. Each discovery will inspire books, films, debates, and perhaps even new myths. For every scholar who explains a void as a structural feature, there will be dreamers who see it as a hidden chamber of alien origin. Technology may provide data, but interpretation will always belong to the human mind, and human minds love stories. And so the future of pyramid research is not only about machines, but about meaning. Even if we map every stone, find every chamber, measure every angle, the deeper questions will remain. Why was it built with such precision? Why aligned with stars? Why shaped in such a way that myths across the world echo its form? Technology can answer how, but can it ever answer why? Perhaps that question will always be left for us to ponder in the quiet of the night. Still, the advances ahead promise wonders. We may yet learn details of construction, details of labor, details of symbolism. We may find objects untouched by time, objects that connect us directly to the people who raised the stones. We may find nothing but emptiness, and even emptiness can be revelation, a reminder that the true treasure of the pyramid is not gold, but mystery itself. Imagine lying beneath the desert sky, knowing that within the pyramid there are still chambers unseen, spaces unknown. Imagine that with each year, our tools grow sharper, our eyes grow keener, and yet the pyramid remains patient, waiting for us to be ready. Perhaps one day, when the time is right, we will discover something that changes history. Or perhaps we will discover only silence, and in that silence hear the voice of eternity. As you breathe slowly now, let the thought of the future soothe you. The pyramid has kept its secrets for thousands of years. It will keep them until we are ready. Technology may advance, but the mystery endures. And in that endurance, there is comfort. The pyramid is not only a relic of the past, but a promise of the future, a reminder that discovery is endless, that wonder is eternal, and that some questions are best carried with us like a gentle lullaby, guiding us softly into sleep. If the hypothesis were true, if the Great Pyramid truly bore the mark of alien participation, then everything we think we know about humanity's place in the universe would shift. It would not be a small adjustment, not a footnote in history, but a transformation of identity, a rewriting of the story of what it means to be human. We have long believed ourselves to be the authors of civilization, the makers of tools, the builders of cities, the keepers of knowledge. To imagine that beings from elsewhere once stepped into our world and guided us is to imagine that our story is not solely our own, but part of something larger, woven into a cosmic tapestry of intelligence and exploration. If aliens truly stood beside humans in ancient Egypt, then humanity was never alone. From the earliest days of civilization, we were part of a dialogue, silent now, but real then. A conversation not of words, but of symbols, structures, and knowledge. The Great Pyramid becomes not just a tomb, but a statement that Earth was contacted, that Earth was chosen, that Earth was a place worth shaping. This realization would expand our sense of belonging. Instead of being a species confined to one small planet, we would be participants in a greater cosmic community, connected by ancient ties to beings whose knowledge spanned the stars. The loneliness of the night sky would soften, replaced by the knowledge that long ago someone came here, someone cared, someone left a mark that still stands. At the same time, the truth would humble us. Much of what we consider human achievement might need to be reconsidered. The leap from stone huts to cosmic alignments, from simple tools to monuments that encode mathematical constants, might no longer be explained as purely human genius, but as the result of guidance. Yet this does not erase our role. Even if aliens offered knowledge, it was human hands that lifted stones, human sweat that carried them, human faith that gave them meaning. The pyramid would remain a human achievement, but an achievement shared, a collaboration between earth and sky. The implications for religion would be vast. Faiths built upon the stories of gods descending from the heavens would need to reckon with the possibility that those gods were not eternal spirits, but visitors from elsewhere. The lines between theology and astronomy, between myth and memory, would blur. For some, this would diminish the sacred. For others, it would expand it, showing that the divine is not confined to one planet, but written into the universe itself. Perhaps the gods and the aliens are not different, but simply two names for the same mystery, beings greater than ourselves, who inspire awe and shape destiny. For science, the confirmation of ancient contact would be revolutionary. No longer would we speculate about whether intelligent life exists elsewhere. We would know it has existed and has touched us. The search for extraterrestrial intelligence, the listening to radio signals, the scanning of distant planets would take on new urgency. We would not be searching for the first sign, but for the continuation of a story already begun. Humanity's place would be neither unique nor isolated, but part of a continuum of intelligence. Our achievements, from language to rockets, would be seen not as solitary, but as part of a legacy of connection. For culture, the impact would be profound. Our myths, our stories, our art would take on new meaning. The tales of gods descending, of beings from the sky teaching wisdom, would be seen not as fantasy, but as memory. The pyramid itself would become not only a wonder of the world, but the most visible artifact of contact, a monument that proves we have always been part of something greater. Imagine the feeling. To stand before the Great Pyramid, knowing not only that your ancestors built it, but that they built it with help from others. To gaze upward at Orion, knowing that the alignment is not coincidence, but communication, a message stretching across time and space. To realize that when you look at the stars, you are not only wondering who is out there, but remembering that someone once came. The truth would change how we see ourselves, how we see our future. If we were contacted once, might we be contacted again? If we were taught once, might we be taught again? The question of whether we are ready would hang in the air. Are we prepared to join a wider community, to see ourselves not as rulers of Earth, but as members of the cosmos? The knowledge would inspire both fear and hope. Fear, because we would no longer be the highest intelligence we know. Hope, because we would know we are not alone. In either case, our place in the universe would be larger than before. As you breathe slowly, let the thought settle. If the hypothesis were true, then humanity is not abandoned, not forgotten, not isolated. We are part of a story that stretches beyond our planet, beyond our imagination. The pyramid is not only a monument of stone, but a reminder, a signpost pointing outward, telling us that once, long ago, we were seen, we were guided, we were touched by others. And whether that is fact or fantasy, the feeling it gives us is real. It is the feeling of connection, of belonging, of possibility. Humanity's place in the universe may remain uncertain, but the mystery itself is enough to soothe. For mystery is not absence, but presence, not emptiness, but invitation. The pyramid whispers that we are more than we know, and the stars above echo that whisper, drawing us gently toward wonder. Let that thought cradle you now, soft and steady, as sleep descends like starlight, as the pyramid and the universe hold you in their silent embrace. For thousands of years, the Great Pyramid has been more than a structure. It has been a presence, a silent companion to generations, a reminder of something larger than human life. People have stood before it and wondered. They have told stories about it. They have woven myths around it. And in doing so, they have found comfort. Mystery itself, the unanswered question, becomes a kind of balm for the human mind. The pyramid, whether explained by human hands alone or imagined as the work of beings from beyond, offers something that certainty never could: the gift of wonder. From the beginning of time, humans have sought meaning in the world around them. We looked at the stars and created constellations. We heard thunder and imagined gods. We saw the vastness of death and sought eternity. Mystery has always been part of the human condition. To believe that there are things we do not yet know, perhaps cannot know, is to live in a world that is open, not closed. The Great Pyramid embodies this openness. It is a puzzle that invites endless questions. How was it built? Why was it aligned with the stars? What secrets lie within its chambers? These questions soothe as much as they provoke, because they remind us that life is not only about answers, but about journeys, about curiosity, about the gentle space between certainty and imagination. Psychologists speak of the human need for awe, the emotion we feel when confronted by something vast and mysterious that transcends our understanding. Awe quiets the ego, softens the self, and opens the mind to connection. Standing before the Great Pyramid, or even imagining it in the stillness of night, brings awe. Its size, its endurance, its mystery all create that feeling. And in awe, there is comfort, for it tells us that we are part of something larger, that our small worries are not the whole of existence. Belief, too, plays a role. For the Egyptians, belief in the pyramid's power gave meaning to life and death. To work on the pyramid was to build eternity, to secure a place for the pharaoh among the stars, and in turn to participate in a cosmic order that gave structure to existence. Belief turned labor into purpose. Even today, belief in mysteries such as alien participation offers comfort. It is not only a matter of whether it is true, but of what it means. To believe that beings from beyond once visited is to believe that we are not alone, that we are watched, that the universe holds connection and care. Such belief may or may not reflect reality, but it provides psychological solace. In a world that often feels uncertain, the idea that greater intelligences exist can be reassuring. Mystery and belief also give us stories to tell. Stories soothe. Stories connect us. The myths of the gods descending, the legends of sky beings, the tales of hidden chambers. These are not just accounts of events, but narratives that shape identity and community. People gather to share them, to debate them, to dream them. In this sharing, we find belonging. The pyramid becomes not just a stone structure, but a focal point for imagination, for culture, for connection. Some may say that belief in mysteries is escapism, a refusal to face reality. But often it is the opposite. It is a way of facing the vastness of reality, of acknowledging that not everything is under our control or comprehension. It is a way of humbling ourselves before the unknown, and in that humility, finding peace. The psychological comfort of mystery lies in its endlessness. If the pyramid were fully explained, if every stone and purpose were accounted for, perhaps the wonder would diminish. But because questions remain, the pyramid continues to soothe. Each generation can approach it anew, can project onto it their fears, their hopes, their dreams. For some, it is proof of human greatness. For others, it is evidence of alien guidance. For all, it is a reminder that there is more to existence than we can hold. Imagine lying in the desert night, the pyramid beside you, the stars above. You do not need to know exactly how or why it was built. You only need to feel the mystery of it, the presence of it, the way it stands eternal and silent. In that moment, your mind quiets. The unknown becomes a blanket, wrapping you in wonder, inviting you to rest. This is the true gift of mystery. Not anxiety, but comfort. Not fear, but awe. The pyramid whispers that life is deeper than answers, that belief is more than fact, that to wonder is itself a kind of peace. As you breathe slowly now, let that mystery settle within you. Do not seek to solve it. Let it remain soft and infinite, like the desert horizon. The Great Pyramid is not only stone, but story, not only structure, but symbol, not only past, but presence. It is the comfort of knowing that questions will always remain, and that in those questions lies the gentlest form of truth. The Great Pyramid is not only a monument of stone, but a monument of thought, a creation that has lived not just in the desert sands, but in the human imagination for more than 4,000 years. Empires have risen and fallen, languages have changed, faiths have shifted, and yet the pyramid remains, always present, always whispering its mystery to those who gaze upon it. Its endurance is not only physical, but psychological. It has become a symbol of eternity, of wonder, of the vast reach of human ambition and the possibility of something beyond. Every age has looked at the pyramid and seen a reflection of itself. To the ancient Egyptians, it was the ladder to the heavens, the guarantee of the pharaoh's immortality, the axis where earth touched the divine. To the Greeks, it was a wonder, proof of a civilization more advanced than their own. To the medieval traveler, it was a riddle, perhaps built before the flood, perhaps raised by beings older than man. To the Renaissance scholar, it was geometry, a lesson in proportion and harmony. To the modern scientist, it is an engineering challenge. To the dreamer, it is a cosmic beacon, a message in stone. And to those who let imagination soar, it is evidence of visitors from the stars. This shifting of meaning is itself the legacy of the pyramid. It endures not by offering one answer, but by allowing endless interpretations. It is a mirror for the human mind, reflecting what we most need at any given moment. When we seek order, it offers mathematics. When we seek faith, it offers mythology. When we seek connection, it offers the stars. When we seek wonder, it offers mystery. Its legacy is not static, but living, growing with each generation. Consider how many works of art, literature, and film have been inspired by the pyramid. Painters have captured its form under starlight. Poets have written verses about its eternity. Filmmakers have imagined it as a temple of ancient aliens, a prison of forgotten gods, a portal to other worlds. Even in popular culture, the pyramid continues to shape imagination. It is never just background. It is always character, always presence, always mystery. This is its eternal gift, that it fuels the human need to imagine, to dream, to wonder. The pyramid also endures as a symbol of human resilience. No matter what theories one holds, whether of aliens, lost technologies, or human labor, the fact remains that it was built, that it still stands. In a world where so much crumbles, the pyramid reassures us that some creations last. It tells us that ambition can be carved into eternity, that imagination can be made visible, that human beings are capable of leaving marks that endure beyond their lifetimes. This is why so many travelers stand before it in silence. It is not only about history, but about presence, about feeling that in the face of time, something remains. The legacy of the pyramid is also its ability to unify opposites. It is both human and divine, both ancient and modern, both solved and unsolved. It belongs to archaeology and to mythology, to science and to faith, to skepticism and to wonder. Few monuments hold such power to live in all these worlds at once. That is why it never fades from our imagination, why it continues to inspire debate, study, and dream. If one imagines alien participation, the legacy becomes even wider. The pyramid would then not only be an Egyptian monument, but a galactic one, a marker of contact, a chapter in a universal story. It would connect us to the stars, remind us that we are not isolated, but part of something greater. Even if this remains speculation, the very act of imagining it enriches the legacy. For imagination itself is as eternal as stone. The pyramid shows us that the human mind does not rest in certainty, but flourishes in wonder. As long as the pyramid stands, imagination will never lack a home. Its endurance also reminds us of humility. We are temporary, our lives short, our civilizations fragile, yet the pyramid has stood for 45 centuries. To contemplate it is to accept that we are small, but in that smallness there is peace. To know that something larger exists, whether it be stone, cosmos, or mystery, is to be comforted. The eternal legacy of the pyramid is this: it gives us perspective. It teaches us to look beyond ourselves, to find solace in wonder, to rest in mystery. Imagine yourself standing at its base, gazing upward as the last light of day touches its summit. The desert is quiet, the air still, the stars beginning to appear. You feel both small and infinite, both fleeting and eternal. The pyramid does not answer your questions, but it holds them gently, as if to say that questions are enough. As you close your eyes now, let that legacy be with you. The Great Pyramid is not only Egypt's gift, but humanity's gift, a structure that carries imagination across ages. It is the eternal presence of wonder, the lullaby of stone and sky. Its legacy will not fade. For as long as humans dream, the pyramid will be there, waiting, watching, guiding us softly into the comfort of mystery. The Great Pyramid of Giza has stood for more than 4,500 years, and yet it feels timeless, as if it belongs not only to the past, but to every moment of human history. It is more than stone, more than tomb, more than monument. It is a question written in limestone and granite, a riddle that has refused to fade, a mystery that endures through centuries and civilizations. Whether one believes it was built entirely by human genius or with guidance from visitors beyond the earth, the pyramid remains a presence that speaks to us, whispering across time. It speaks of ambition, of faith, of the human desire for eternity. It speaks of mathematics and astronomy, of alignment with stars, of geometry turned into monument. It speaks of labor and community, of tens of thousands who work together to create something larger than themselves. And it speaks of stories, myths, and dreams, of gods descending from the heavens, of souls ascending to Orion, of mysteries too vast to answer. The pyramid endures because it does not close questions, but opens them. For scholars, it is an engineering marvel. For believers, it is a message from the divine or the alien. For artists, it is a symbol of eternity. For dreamers, it is a beacon to the stars. Each perspective is incomplete, yet each adds to the richness of its meaning. The pyramid accepts them all, silent, patient, unchanged. Its endurance through time is itself a comfort. Empires rose and fell, but it remained. Languages shifted, but it remained. Religions came and went, but it remained. The sands of the desert shifted, yet the pyramid stood still, holding its form against wind and time. In this endurance lies a reminder that there is something beyond the fleeting, something beyond the fragile, something that can last. It tells us that humans, though mortal, can create the eternal. And if aliens once guided its creation, then its endurance tells us that we are not forgotten, that we are part of a larger story, one that stretches beyond the earth into the universe itself. The pyramid is a paradox. It is heavy, yet it lifts imagination. It is silent, yet it speaks. It is ancient, yet it feels alive. It belongs to Egypt, yet it belongs to all humanity. It is a tomb, yet it is also a symbol of life everlasting. In its paradox lies its power, the reason why it has never ceased to fascinate. The mystery endures because the pyramid is not about answers, but about wonder. And wonder is eternal. To stand before it is to feel awe. And awe is the most human of emotions. Awe humbles, soothes, opens the mind. It tells us that we are small, but in our smallness, we are connected to something vast. It tells us that we do not need to understand everything to find meaning. It tells us that sometimes questions are more beautiful than answers. The pyramid is itself such a question, carved into stone, lasting forever. As we close this journey, imagine yourself once more on the Giza plateau. The sun is setting, and the desert is quiet. The pyramid rises before you, immense and silent, its angles catching the last light. Above it, the stars appear one by one, Orion shining in the east, Sirius glowing bright. The air is still, the sands are cool, and for a moment time itself seems to pause. You do not need to know how the stones were raised or why the shafts align with the stars. You only need to feel the presence of the pyramid, the weight of its mystery, the comfort of its silence. It is enough to know that it stands, that it has stood for ages, that it will stand long after us. Its mystery is its gift. It soothes because it reminds us that we are part of something larger, something eternal, something that endures. Whether human or alien, divine or earthly, the builders gave us not only a monument, but a companion, a presence that guides us into wonder and into rest. Let that mystery be with you now. Let it settle into your thoughts as softly as desert wind. The Great Pyramid is still there and will always be there holding its secrets, keeping its silence, whispering its lullaby. And as you drift into sleep, remember, the answers may never come, but the questions themselves are eternal, and in them lies peace.